Quickly before the video starts, guys, I just want to simply state that I'm actually using a new editing system. You may be able to hear a little bit of static in the background. I want to apologise for that in advance. I'm actually working on getting a new, better microphone, so please bear with me. Hopefully it's not too much of a pain. Let me know down in the comments below if it bothers you or not. And yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Dylan. Welcome back to another Destiny build guide. In today's build guide, we're actually going to be taking a look at one of my Nightstalker PVE builds. This is always my go-to. I've been using it a lot this week. And without further ado, let's get into the subclass and let me break it down for you guys. So starting off from the grenade, I'm using a spike grenade. Now the reason for this is because I think it has much more utility. It's usable in certain situations that other grenades don't really seem to shine in, so that's why I'm using that. For the jump, I've gone with better control. This is mainly down to personal preference, but I prefer the movement speed of better control, and it also ties into the exotic armor piece I'm using. For the super, I'm using black hole. Now this is the obvious choice here. It has increased range, it lasts longer, and it can tether more targets, so very good. Now for the smoke grenade, I'm using vanish in smoke. The reason for this is if our teammates die, I can quickly go invis, run over and get their revive. Then I've got Path Unknown, Light of the Pack. So Light of the Pack, killing tethered targets creates orbs of light for our teammates. Then we've got Way of the Fearless, and then finally Predator. Predator is a very underrated perk in my opinion. It decreases your shadow shot cooldown even further, and it'll basically wait as a void anchored trap for targets to spawn. Now most people seem to use shade step in PvE as well when they're running raids and strikes and stuff. In my opinion, it's pretty useless. So that's why I've gone with Predator for the extra shadow shot cooldown. It's very noticeable and it is a very good perk. Now getting into the armor, I am using Bones of Ao as the exotic armor piece. If you don't know what bones do, they basically give you an additional jump. That combined, if we go back to the subclass real quick, combined with better control, creates really fast movement speed. I've actually gone over and actually made a video on these in the past on my advanced hunter movement video, so you can go check that video out if you want to. And then the rest of the armor on my hunter is centered around getting tier 5 intellect and tier 5 discipline. Now if you don't know, this is a support build. It's heavily focused on creating orbs of light for your teammates, like pretty much 24/7. So you're going to want to prioritize getting your intellect first and then your discipline. Make sure you have tier 5 intellect at all costs, as this is a support build. Now another choice you could do is run the Skyburners Annex instead of the Bones of Ao, as if you don't know what this helmet does, basically you have a chance to create orbs of light when you get a kill with a heavy weapon. So say if you're using a rocket or a machine gun, a sword, whatever you may be using, you have a chance to create orbs of light. So this actual helmet does work with this build very well. I have used it in the past, but for my personal preference, I do seem to go and lean towards more the Bones of Ao. As I'm much more of a speed runner, I prefer the movement speed of everything. For me, it just suits my playstyle more. Now we're going to go over a few of the benefits and the negatives of actually running this subclass in PvE. So let's get into it. So we'll start off with the negative first that I can mainly think of, and that would be, it's not the subclass in general, it's just hunters in general. Hunters are very, very squishy. They're generally the weakest class in the game when it comes to being able to tank a lot of damage. So you're definitely going to want to be very careful when you're actually running around out there, taking, getting blasted by hobgoblins, sniped by 6, 7, 8 vandals, however many buns you want to spam at you. So you're definitely going to want to be careful when you're actually running around out there, as hunters are a little bit on the squishy side. Another little bit of a negative I can think of is, at times when you're actually solo playing with this build, being able to time your tether to where your teammates can actually get the advantage of using it as well can be a little bit difficult at times. You can use your tether for yourself. You can, maybe you are good enough to kill all of the enemies that you do tether, but in general, it is better for you to be able to get your teammates to get the benefit of it as well. A few times I've tethered the boss, or I've tethered a group of enemies, and I've not been able to kill them all myself or deal a sufficient amount of damage. and my teammates just don't really seem to notice that I've popped my tether. They don't really seem to realise. So that would definitely have to be one of the negatives. You know, it's depending on you know, who you get matched up with, you know, if they actually realise that you've tethered the enemies or not. Now, getting into some of the positives of this build would be, if you run the Bones of AO, is the movement speed. The Bones of AO are definitely one of the best hunter exotics out there in my opinion. They're mainly used in the Crucible, but I love them for PVE as well. I love the movement speed of the better control combined with the Bones of AO. Being able to jump around, quickly evade out of damage when it's needed is very, very useful indeed. Now, another benefit would be being able to actually create orbs of light for your teammates at any time when you have your tether. Now, the Predator cooldown is actually very noticeable. On average, in the Omnigul strike, I'd say I got about 7 to 10 tethers in that one strike. That's how crazy it is. As long as you're getting kills, you're actually getting your tether down, you know, very, very often. As you can see, I just popped my tether and I've almost got it back immediately. So kill the ogre. You know, I think I run to the top of this hill and I get my super back again. You know, so that's how quick you can get your tether back on cooldown. Now, obviously, you know, not everyone's going to be able to push forward like this. Not everyone's going to be able to run forward and be confident enough, depending on the modifiers or whatever you may be doing. But the extra cooldown is noticeable. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but it is very noticeable indeed. Another benefit to this would actually be, you know, it's a team playing class. Now in Destiny, there's not a lot of you know, team role play sort of builds out there from what I've seen. A lot of people seem to run quite selfish builds that are just centered around them being successful as a player, you know, them being able to survive more, them being able to get more kills. But this helps you and your teammates. You know, you're giving your teammates orbs of light for their supers. You're actually tethering targets to make them completely, you know, useless and give, you know, you and your teammates a damage buff. Tether is also very good against bosses. Now, I'm actually using this build. All the footage that you're seeing on screen is Arcburn and Specialist. And this class still shines in Arcburn. You know, usually, you know, most people would want to run Blade, but I still run Nightstalker because being able to have the support role there, or being able to give your teammates orbs when it's needed, you know, is very, very good indeed. But anyway guys, that's pretty much going to do it for the video today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel for daily Destiny content. Thank you so much for watching guys, and peace.